Let's dive into the handout here. So if you open that handout that you began yesterday, we are going to start on the third page where it says your strengths and superpowers. Yesterday, Mike had you write down what your strengths are. And I'd like to dive in a little bit deeper into those. And specifically, what I'd love you to do is to home in on specific stories that exemplify those strengths. Okay. So we're going to journal a little bit about our strengths and superpowers. Then I'm going to give a couple of minutes for some shares. And specifically, what I'd love is anyone that has a story that really illustrates what your greatest strengths are. I'd love you to share. And I'll say right at the head of the thing here, I'd love to hear from someone that didn't necessarily share yesterday when we do that sharing. Once we're done with that, we will move on to the dream section, which is basically imagining the end of summer and what your best case scenario would look like. After we journal that, that's at the point where we'll get into groups of 3 and you'll be able to share what you envision for your summer with a small group. And that often is the best part for people, is the sharing of that and the listening to other people's visions. And then we'll continue from there. So go ahead and turn to your strengths and superpowers. Go ahead and read along with me. And then I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes to journal some thoughts on this. Each of us has unique strengths, capabilities, and gifts that we bring to being a leader. Reflect on 3 to 5 of your highest strengths, unique skills, attitudes, approaches, philosophies, techniques, etc. as a leader. One way to ask this of yourself is, hey, what helps me win? What qualities about me most help me to win? And what I'd like you to do is think of stories within your Vector career, maybe outside of Vector, that exemplify and illustrate those strengths, those skills, those capabilities. So we'll throw some music on, take about 4 minutes here to just describe 3 to 5 strengths with as much detail as possible, and connect them to stories if you can of when you've been able to utilize those strengths. And then we'll have a few people share some thoughts. often in the heat of a summer or in the heat of anything that is challenging or stressful, things can seem overwhelming, and it's the strengths that you're coming up with right now that you're going to want to lean on in times of stress or in times of just, not really knowing what to do or where to go with things. It's leaning on your greatest strengths that are going to help you the most. I am curious, is there anyone that would like to share, a story that illustrates or exemplifies a strength of yours, a superpower, skills or attitudes? Go ahead and raise your hands if you'd like to share the emojis, I should say, hand emoji. Harrison Hayes, thank you.
So I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where I was able to speak in church. And, for me, just having the chance to speak in church, I'm a pretty talented presenter. And it was really awesome just to get up there, make everybody laugh, and then hold their attention while I taught them things about how to improve their relationship with God and how to increase their faith. So that was something that was like a superpower for me, making everybody laugh and then, giving everybody some spiritual nuggets.
Cool. And if you don't mind me digging a little deeper on that, what strengths do you feel you really brought to the table? What attitudes, what techniques do you feel like you used in that experience?
So I think the biggest thing was just being able to be an attractive presenter and hold their attention. Because a lot of the time, so in my church, we often have members of the congregation get up and speak. And it's sometimes they could use a little more practice on their presentation skills. And it can be kind of a drag. So it's really easy for other members of the congregation just to kind of zone out. But that kind of defeats the purpose of going to church. So me being able to get up there and, grab their attention, hold on to it, and then give them something really valuable, that was something that was really special to me.
Cool. Thanks, Harrison. And that's obviously a skill that is going to serve you really well in a leadership role. So thanks for sharing. Cool. All right, Rick, go for it.
Definitely determination. I just started recently, and I went 0-4. And, I went through 4 demos. I couldn't get a sale, kept pushing, kept asking for the order. I thought I knew my product knowledge pretty well, so I wasn't aware if that was it. But, I just kept pushing, kept making demos, kept asking people for the order, and eventually I made a sale.
Cool. So for you, you're saying determination, stick-to-itiveness, and I'd also add belief, right? Belief in yourself that you could turn it around. Cool. That's a great story. And Rick, that's a really great story to be able to pull out and share with reps that are having the exact same experience as you. So that's great. Thanks, Rick. How about one more? Awesome. Britta, go for it.
So I kind of tied 2 of mine into one another. So in between my listening skills and utter openness, I felt like that has really, it's helped me not only in my career, but in between building rapport with them and people being able to feel comfortable enough with me to share whatever life issues are going on, financial situations, what have you. So in between my listening skills and just people being comfortable enough with me to be utterly open about their life has truly helped me.
Fantastic. Yeah, and Britta, that's one of the things I said yesterday is going to make someone, you, certainly a better assistant manager, is being able to listen. And so that's great. And I think that the extent to which you can continue to develop that and also lean on that skill this summer is really going to serve you really well and serve the people that you're working with and leading really well. So thank you for sharing, Britta. That's great. And thank you to all 3 of you. All right, let's move on to the dream section. All right, this is the part where you really get to dream about what your experience can be like this summer and really will be like this summer. Because often if we can live our experience before it happens, we can actually create that experience. So let's move on to the dream section, which is at the bottom of that page. So imagine that you are at the end of the summer and you look back and see a time that is truly engaged, transformed, and tapped into your highest potential as a leader. When you look back at the summer, what types of images will give you the greatest sense of pride, meaning, and fulfillment? What types of experiences, conversations, feelings, and or memories would give you the greatest sense of joy and purpose? So take about 5 minutes here and just really try to transport yourself to the end of summer and feel what you're wanting to be feeling. Experience what you're wanting to be experiencing and describe with as much detail as possible your positive images of the future. So we'll do 5 minutes of journaling here. Then we're going to get you into groups of 3 where we can have you each share about 2 minutes each what you wrote down. So let's cue some music. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes here. All right, you might not be quite done writing, or although some of you are like, right, and I'm done. There's always two kinds of people with the journaling. But if you got enough down, I think let's go ahead and break into groups. We're going to get into groups of 3, and each person take about 2 minutes to share your positive images of the future. If it's a lot, just share whatever part is most compelling. But each take about 2 minutes. We'll reconvene back here in 7 again to give that extra minute of buffer. So enjoy and be a great listener while you're sharing. Would love to have as many people as we have time for here share a little bit about their vision for summer, and feel free to share as much as you'd like or one aspect of it. But again, let's start off with maybe someone that hasn't had a chance to share yet. But go ahead and raise hands for who would like to share their vision for summer, their dream. Awesome. Dakota, you're applauding yourself and raising your hand.
I didn't mean to hit applaud. I'm
No, I love
sorry.
it.
I
That's
don't know
good.
how to use Zoom.
No problem. That's perfect.
So my dreams is kind of a weird timeline just because I am planning on branching this fall, but I don't know exactly when. So some of this is kind of up in the air. So what I would like to do is have a positive impact in our office, knowing that I helped people and taught them things that will positively impact their future, developing meaningful relationships with my coworkers in my office, earning 13.5K and saving 10, and being able to set up my future of being a branch manager this fall.
That is awesome, Dakota. Thank you. How does it feel when you say that? When you say those things out loud?
Good. Kind of scary because being able to earn 13.5 in that short amount of time while being an AM. And there's only 2 AMs in my office, so.
It's great. It's scary. Do you believe that it can happen?
Yeah.
Do you believe that it will happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. I recommend going a little deeper with your manager on that part. That you believe it can happen. Yes. You believe it will happen. I think so. I recommend going a little deeper, but I believe that you can make it happen, and that is exciting to be able to open up your own office as soon as fall. When did you start selling?
January.
Cool. That's fantastic, and that is really truly taking the Vector opportunity by the horns, and that's awesome. Thanks for starting us off. That's great. Lindley.
Yeah, so I'm very type A, so I have just some number goals. I want to be able to teach representatives how to better manage themselves and their time, both in Vector, outside of Vector. Obviously, I would like to improve all of my sales numbers because I'm good at doing demos, but my numbers are not where I want them to be. I want to impact more than, thanks Maya, I want to impact more than 60% of the team's sales, which I think is doable looking at numbers from winter break. I want to make 20K, which will help me pay for my sophomore year. I think I'll be able to finish paying for my sophomore year with that. I want to be able to name Vector Connect talks off the top of my head, be able to say the schools and give little blurbs on 70% of launching representatives. I would like a baseline goal of 15 PRs a week from myself. 20 would be ideal. I might adjust that number because I've never done this full time. And then the biggest thing would just be improving my confidence and getting rid of the imposter syndrome that I have. So yeah, thanks y'all.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. You seem confident to me. Thank you very much for sharing. I don't say that to refute what you're saying at all. And it takes courage to say, I need to show more confidence or I need to show more courage. For those that don't know, Lindley, how much did you sell last summer?
I sold almost 47K last summer.
Okay. Including 26,000 for the SC2 push. And she's wanting to get better and improve. And I think that's great. And I think champions often, regardless of how great the results may be, they're striving for improvement. So Appreciate it. Thank you very much for sharing them.
Thank you.
Esperanza?
Yes. So
Yeah.
for backstory, this summer I'm going to be the sales manager with Mike King, and I've had a few managers from Carly and her sales manager Brandon and Mike and having Schmitty. This past summer, my main goal for this summer is essentially to take the best parts of every manager that I've had and really dive deep with Mike and the staff that we have to develop not only them to be the best they can be, but to be the best that I can for the office. They're being proactive and doing things through initiative and by example, because I know that reps learn through watching, and I've learned a lot just through watching my other managers. So I know that everything I do is going to be reflective of our office. So only through being the best I can be will our office be the best for this coming summer. So that is my main goal.
Thanks. And when you do that, you're getting a lot of love in the chat, by the way. But when you do that, how is that going to feel?
I know it's going to feel really fulfilling. I'm someone who loves feedback, but also loves impacting other people. So I know that when I create these new friendships and new relationships with our staff and our representatives, it's going to make me feel really fulfilled just as a person.
Awesome. What else will it do for you in your future?
I think it'll also just teach me how to be a better manager and better problem solver too, because I know there's going to be a lot of different situations that arise. And I feel like I'm already pretty good at that, but at the same time, I'm someone that also wants to run a branch office the summer after. So I know it'll definitely prepare me for that. And Mike has told me before, like, Esperanza, this will basically be your office and you don't have to pay for any of it. You're just your sales manager. And I was like, okay, this is my chance to really make an impact and help everyone, but also help myself. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody. Let's go to the last page here, which is deploy. And this is where you begin to craft your plan for realizing that vision that you outlined. And so I'm going to give you here about 5 minutes to begin to work on this part of it. I'll walk you through. It's basically outcomes, purpose, actions, and then the last one's really actions, but it's just immediate actions. Okay, so outcomes, purpose, actions, and now. Now, some of you already began to do the outcomes, right? And so you had, making $13,500, Dakota, right? And making $20,000. Some of you had specific outcomes, but what you want to do is take your vision, if you haven't already, and begin to write down 3 to 5 outcomes 4 months from now, so at the end of the summer, that would best tell you you're maximizing your strengths, your superpowers, your potential. And then how do those outcomes connect with that vision that you wrote out in the last question? So those are your outcomes. Begin to write as I'm talking. You can write and listen at the same time. So 3 to 5 outcomes, and then a purpose, right? So this is your why behind the outcomes. So in no more than one sentence, why is your continuous evolution and growth as a leader important to you? So that's the first question on purpose. And then separately, what are all the possible ways that you might gain value by pushing, right? So with SB, as I was talking, I went a couple layers deep on what that might do for you or your whys. This is where you can list all the possible ways that you'll gain value by pushing this summer. So that's your purpose. For actions, what are 5 to 7 actions that you're committed to taking over the next 7 to 28 days to make the smallest yet most important progress towards this campaign 2 outcome? And then finally, the now, right? What's one step you'll take right now to accelerate your evolution as a leader and best prepare you for the desired outcomes you're writing? Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a note to yourself, a specific action step, a commitment, or a decision. So let's see, I'll give you just about 4 minutes. Get as much written down as you can. And then I really encourage you to finish this deploy part, this plan, on your own after the event, and go in more depth and detail on it. Would love to hear just an additional outcome that you wrote down or an action step that you're going to take. Feel free to just shout it out at this point. No need to raise your hand. Just mention one outcome or one action step that you're going to be taking leaving this event.
Giving my DM the best summer he's ever had in his 4 years in St. Louis.
Awesome. I think that's really noble. I'd love for you to zero in on what you want. And I think what you're wanting is to help him, and that's great. Zero in on what that'll do for you too. But thanks for sharing, Nick. It's great. Others? Outcomes or action steps?
PCs with purpose.
Okay. Thanks, Gerald. Any action steps?
I was gonna say influencing the next AM that comes up, like, more than just like me and staff, and the next AM.
I love that, Tyler. Thanks. Very cool.
Going back to the basics so I can teach the reps the very basics, going to Champs Club every single day, listening to, the traditional Vector Connect talks, everything like that.
Awesome. So you know them by heart. Thanks, Lindley.
Don't
Fantastic.
shy away from phone demos or phone jams or demos.
Okay. So what will you do?
Call.
All right.
More calls.
Yep. Thank you. I always like to phrase it in the positive. That's great.
I'm going to build up my names list to 100 names with phone numbers by tomorrow night.
Okay. There's a very specific action steps that's going to create a direct result, Harrison. That's great. As long as you do what Rick says and you pick up the phone, right? Awesome. Cool. Let me wrap up with a couple of things here. Number one, digest this plan a little bit more. Tonight, tomorrow, go into a little more depth and a little more detail on the whys, the outcomes, and then the actions that you can create. But also that purpose. Really spend a lot of time on that second part, that purpose, and digest it with your manager. Really talk to them about what your most important whys are as you go into summer. A couple things. The recordings for all the messages will be sent out by Monday. You'll also be receiving today a link to take a survey, with your, assessment of the event. We really value your opinion. We love these events. We try to always execute at the highest level, but we also love improving. And so we'd love to get your feedback on the event. You'll get a link to a survey later today. So please do take that. That would be fantastic. All right, a couple of things as I wrap up here very quickly. Number one is just a reminder to keep it simple. We learned a lot here over the last couple of days, and you're going to continue to learn a lot, certainly as you develop as an assistant manager. But just keep it simple. Personally sell, drive recruiting, drive sales. Your personally selling is going to help you make more money, and it's going to set the tone for what your reps do. Offices where the assistant managers are leading in sales almost every single time have the best reps. So personally sell, drive recruiting through Fire Number and through you personally recruiting your personal network to add to the team and to give yourself the opportunity to go to Vegas. And then drive sales, work with reps, PDI, PCs, continue to develop those skills. On the right side here is really how I want you to approach yourself this summer. Okay, so the first thing is to grow. Focus on growing. Mike mentioned yesterday, a part of journaling is how did I grow today? Ask yourself at the beginning of each day, how do I want to grow today, or how will I grow today? And at the end, how did I grow? Focus on becoming your best self and then help others and have fun. A couple of next steps. I mentioned this, but schedule some me time to go over your notes and to really hone that plan of action. Okay. And then, by the way, have me time in your day every day. Dane talked about owning your mornings. Have me time in your day every day to take care of you. Okay, gain some clarity, clarify your most important summer outcomes, define your whys, and then write all this down and put it where you'll see it multiple times a day. And then share this with others and ask for accountability. And I'm going to recommend that you ask accountability from someone in Vector and somebody outside of Vector, maybe a parent, maybe a significant other, maybe a friend. Daily rituals and energizers. So Mike talked about daily rituals, right? This is important. He said exercise, journaling, gratitude, meditation or prayer, and random acts of kindness. Make sure that every day you're doing things that are moving you in the direction that you want to be going. Recommit daily. You know, this document that you came up with, what you're wanting to achieve this summer and what you're committing to, is great unless you do it once and never look at it again. So remember to recommit daily. And then, of course, remember to have fun. All right. It's really important to me that you all enjoy your summer, because you enjoying your summer is going to help your reps enjoy their summer. And that's important to all of us, is that we're enjoying what we're doing while we're making an impact. You're beginning the most challenging and rewarding adventure of your life. If you're wanting to maximize your income, the more you put into this summer, the more you're going to earn. If you're looking for growth, the more you bring to the table every day, the more you're going to grow. And if you're wanting to impact people, same thing. The more effort you put in, the more you're going to be able to impact people and really change some lives this summer. So, hey, welcome to summer assistant manager class. Master yourself, help others, and let's have some fun this summer. Thanks for being here.